readers, I'm Amy and I'm your nonfiction feminist. In my first video, I made my own kind of get to know you tag, so for this video I figured I'd go ahead and do the Booktube Newbie Tag. From looking at other videos, it looks like this was created by Brenda C. I will try to find the original and link it down below. If not, feel free to include a link in your comments so I can credit the original tagger. So for the first question in the Booktube Newbie Tag, why did you start this channel? Like everyone here, I love books, I love reading books, I love talking about books, I want to be part of a bookish community. I don't have a ton of friends in my day-to-day life who love reading like I do, and I really don't have a ton of friends who read as much as I do. So having the opportunity to talk to people who do a ton of reading in their day-to-day life, or people who have a wider variety of books and bookish opinions than I come across in my day-to-day life, like, I want to get to know you. I think that'd be awesome. This is also a great opportunity to just kind of grow my community. I deal with a lot of anxiety, so to prepare for Booktube, I did a practice video. I made myself sit down and I watched and listened to myself in this video, and I didn't totally hate it. It actually gave me this huge boost of confidence. So hopefully in starting this channel I can continue to build my confidence in myself and build a community, and generally dealing with my anxiety, it can get pretty lonely. So another opportunity to make more friends out there who have similar interests, who might be dealing with similar things, and just, yeah, have more self-appreciation, really. Question number 2, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? Overall, I mean, I guess I would have to say my own opinions and perspective, because each of our opinions and perspective is very much our own and is very unique to who we are. And on top of that, while I know that there are plenty of booktubers out there with similar tastes to mine, I do struggle to find them. I've tried to follow booktubers' advice where I look up books that I like so I can find reviews of them and hopefully find people with similar tastes that way. But the larger chunk of booktubers are reviewing YA and or fantasy. Not to say that I don't read those genres, there is nothing wrong with reading those genres, I just don't read a lot of those, and I prefer to seek out people who read a lot of nonfiction, who read more mysteries or classics. I know I've come across a lot of booktubers who read classics, and generally I want to find more backlist book reviewers. A lot of reviews that I see these days are of pretty much the same books, and I know they're newly released, a lot of people are working with publishers and that's how they get the books, but I want to check out books that have been around for a long time that people might have a fresh perspective on. Question number 3, what are you most excited for about this channel? Like I already said in my first question, watching a practice video for this in preparation for this gave me this huge boost of confidence. I think this is an awesome opportunity to work on just loving myself more, respecting myself, and besides that, growing a community, meeting fellow book nerds, and just talking about books all day, every day. Just, it brings me joy, and I need to do more things in my life that bring me joy. Question number 4, why do I love reading? I've always loved reading. Since my parents read to me when I was little to when I learned the alphabet, like, I have always been reading. I love seeing all the different writing styles that are out there, reading books and seeing the writing. Like, it can give you insight into the author's mind. You can explore others' minds through characters. You go on all of these adventures without even leaving your home, and it's not like a TV show or a movie that's really fast. It's 40 minutes and it's over. It's 2 hours and it's over. It's on to the next episode. A book is more of a slow burn. Even if it's a fast book, you still have to take your time with it. You have to pace yourself. You get involved word by word. It forces you to take your time and to dwell on the story, and I love that. Outside of that, the usual cliche answer, escapism. It's great. There are some things in life you just gotta get away from every now and then. So question number 5, what book or series got you into reading? Like I just said, I've been reading since the first person read to me. Like, it's something I've always been doing. Ultimately, I would probably have to credit Hank the Cowdog. He was the first major, it was the first major series that I got into. It's a large portion of what I read in elementary school whenever I was getting into reading more books in general, and I loved Hank the Cowdog. He was a total screw up, and that was fine. His mistakes led him on all of these great adventures and meeting all these really funny characters. It was my jam. By high school, I had 30 or 40 of these books before ultimately I ended up giving them away to my little cousin, who was also coming into reading around then. I just sent him off my entire collection. I do what I can to support others who love reading. So I'd kind of grown out of the books by then, and as much as I loved them, it was time for them to go. But it was okay, because they went to someone that I loved. So, number 6, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Really, I mean, I ask questions of my favorite booktubers all the time. I comment on their videos, we have conversations about the books they're reading, about their opinions, all sorts of stuff. If I had to lower it down to a specific question that I would ask a favorite booktuber, it would just be, will you be my friend? Because you're a really cool person and I want to get to know you better. Question number 7, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Honestly, I think I've already dealt with a lot of challenges in just getting things started and creating this channel, because I do work 40 hours a week, usually more than that. I work overnight, so overnights are when I get a lot of my reading done, so during the day I'm exhausted, or I'm napping, or I'm trying to spend a couple of hours in the evening with my husband, so I only really have, like, say, 2 days a week to really work on videos, and those are also the days where I'm going to doctor's appointments, where I'm trying to spend time with friends, I'm trying to do grocery shopping, trying to get basic errands done. Sleeping during the day gets in the way of a lot, but I do what I can. I've been working on this channel for several months in watching a bunch of reviews, trying to figure out what my style is going to be, taking notes on different tags, on different topics that I can discuss, getting this microphone, finding out how I'm going to set up my camera, kind of idea of where in my little library, which is really just an extra bedroom, I'm going to set things up, kind of reorganizing my shelves as I bring in more books. I also do a lot of volunteering in my spare time with my local friends of the library, so that takes up a lot of my time. I've also spent a lot of time the last couple months in watching videos on Skillshare. So for Christmas, I decided to gift myself Adobe Photoshop and a bunch of the other programs. So I've been watching Skillshare, and this is not an ad, by the way. This is just me saying it's awesome. I've been watching a lot of Skillshare in learning how to use Adobe Premiere Pro so I can learn how to edit my videos. I can learn some neat kind of tips and tricks, and editing takes me a really long time, especially right now because I'm still just learning it, and if I get caught I have to go back to a video that taught me how to do such and such a thing, and I'll have to try and practice that with the video that I'm working on. Also just trying to find out, what's my profile photo gonna be? What's my banner gonna look like? What are my thumbnails gonna look like? I am a perfectionist. It takes a lot of time out of my life to be a perfectionist. It's a little bit of a problem. You can't say I don't put a real effort into things. Question number 8, when did you start reading? Like I said, I've been reading since people started reading to me, and since I learned the alphabet and learned how to read for myself. Had to read my own bedtime stories eventually. I think my parents were getting a little tired of reading to me every single night once I could really start to read for myself. I didn't read nearly as much during college. With the course load, it was just a lot to try and read books. So I would read maybe 2 or 3 books a year, and they would usually just be favorites that I already knew that I loved, kind of keep me in the game without having to have me process all new information. Graduated college, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have all this reading that I have to catch up on, and now I'll do 50 and 60 books a year since I graduated, and I'm loving it. Question number 9 is, where do you read? Short answer, where don't I read? Long answer, there is always a book in my purse. I read in the doctor's office, I read in my library, I read at my local library, I read in bed, I read on the couch, I read with my cats, I read outside, I read when my husband decides to drive us into town that day, I read on my overnight shifts. I don't have to do a ton of stuff on my overnight shifts, so a lot of that time is spent reading, is spent watching book reviewers on YouTube. So I always have a book with me, because when I don't, that's when I really need a book with me. And number 10, what kind of books do you like to read? I read a little bit of everything. It kind of goes in phases. One month I'm super into classics, the next month I just read mysteries. What I read at one point affects my reading at another point, because I'm very much a mood reader. The larger portion of my reading is taken up by science fiction, women's dystopia, history, memoirs, and classics. But like I said, I branch out a lot from that, kind of month to month as I see fit. That is the Booktube Newbie Tag. I hope you learned something, and hopefully this is going to be the right channel for you and we can chat about books. Leave a comment in the description, maybe just introducing yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you think that our reading tastes align? Do you think they don't? Just anything. Let's just have a little conversation in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and be my friend on the various social medias.